Hours had passed, and still the captives sat in their cages. They were hungry and thirsty and tired. Timo and Jonathan had tried to crawl up on the hard ground and sleep, but sleep did not find them. Trolls had come and gone and taken away the carpets and the tapestries hanging on the walls. These they had carried off and burnt for warmth. The room was now plain and smelled of troll, with the fires now burned low, leaving the room in near darkness. Jonathan looked at his brother, who was trying to sleep. "Psst," he whispered, and Timo turned around. "How do you feel?" "Not good," replied Timo. "Oh, this is all my fault. Why did I go back? Nothing you can do now. Anyways, who knows if we would have run into those trolls anyway." He looked over at Bold, who had fallen asleep, he being used to sleeping in uncomfortable places. "Do you trust him?" Jonathan asked. "I don't know," said Timo. "Maybe. That water did something, and it healed my arm and Uncle's cuts. But what can he do now?" Just then, the door to the room opened. "Change of shifts," said a troll as he walked into the room. "Already?" questioned the guard on duty. "You want a break or not? I could go back to bed," said the new troll. "Whatever," grunted the guard, and he left the room. The new guard closed the door and walked over to the fire, now smouldering in the corner of the room. He put some more fuel into it, and it came back to life. Then he turned around. To the children's surprise, it was the troll who had been guarding their uncle, the same troll who had drunk the healing waters and was told not to tell anyone. He walked over to the cage and smiled. "Hello, little idiots," he said with a grin. His healing had obviously not helped his language nor his manners. At the sound of his voice, Bold and Maggot awoke. "Nothing! Nothing!" they cried. Yes, nothing is here," said the troll. "Time to get you out of these boxes." Timo and Jonathan were confused. "Nothing?" asked Jonathan. "Yes," replied the troll. What is nothing?" "I am nothing," said the troll. "You are something," said Timo. "Of course I am. So are you. But I am also nothing." He smiled. "It is my name. And now that I say it, I come to find I do not like it. For you are correct. I am something indeed." There was something about this troll that the boys liked. Nothing unlocked and opened their cages, and they gladly stepped out into freedom. "I do not know what it was you gave me, Bold," said Nothing, "but I have never felt this way. Look at me helping humans." He shook his head, still coming to terms with his own freedom. Once freed, a hearty discussion took place between Bold, Maggot, and Eber as to what to do next. Nothing kept mostly quiet. Should they try and escape? And if so, in what direction? Should they try to fight? No, that would be hopeless. Or should they try and convince the king of the power of the mountain waters? Eber was in favor of escape, while Bold's and Maggot's hearts were with their people. "Me and my nephews cannot stay here," argued Eber. "We must try and find an exit." "You cannot escape," interrupted Nothing. "There are now many trolls at every entrance and exit, every cave and every tunnel. The king believes the fairies will return in greater numbers and try and retake what we took. He cannot believe that they would just go and give up their halls without a fight. So he has ordered the mountain be made secure for trolls." There was a long pause as Eber thought this over. "The trolls must drink," said Bold. "The king must drink. It is the only way." "But he poured out the last of the waters," said Eber, "and I doubt we will be able to get any more." He looked across to his nephews. "The children might be able to slip by at night," said Bold, looking over at them. They are small and quiet. With that there was great objection from Ebba. I am not sending my nephews back to that room. They will be killed. Your nephews will be eaten in the morning. They are their own only hope. And ours. There was silence. Jonathan spoke.
Uncle, let us try. I think I could lead us back to the throne room. We could sneak down the stairs and get more water. I don't want to wait here for the king to come back.
Ebba sat defeated. Sending his young nephews into troll-infested halls and passageways was the last thing he wanted to do. But letting them sit in a troll cage until something worse happened was no better option. He spoke quietly to the 3 trolls, and the children could not hear what they discussed. It seemed they were devising a plan. Okay, he said quietly, and knelt down by Jonathan and Timo, grasping their hands. Okay, if it is the only way. Go quietly, go quickly. Get the water. He handed them a troll water skin from nearby. Get the water and come back here as fast as you can. Don't try to be heroes. What you are doing is heroic enough. Don't seek out trolls to heal. When you return, we will go together and heal as many as we can. Eventually, the king must listen or be overthrown. We will force him to drink if needed, but that won't happen if you get caught. Get the water, come back. He stared at his nephews and waited for them to show their understanding. They both nodded, and after embracing their uncle and confirming the directions with him to the throne room, they left the prison quietly. The passageways were dark, as many of the new troll lanterns had burnt low. They had taken the mountain so quickly they had not the time to bring with them fuel to keep the mountain halls ever bright, and they were all now sleeping, leaving the fires unattended. Timo and Jonathan crept quietly down the mountain tunnels. They still seemed clean and fairy-ish, but now and again they came across evidence that these tunnels were now troll tunnels. Gashes along the walls, broken furniture, troll lanterns and food scraps left on the floor. They passed through familiar places and were heading in the right direction. They came to a large doorway, and sneaking through, they came across a room filled with trolls. But they were all asleep. The room stank, and the children could only hold their breath and back out of the room.
What now? Jonathan asked. We need to go through there. Can we go around? Asked Timo. We might get lost, replied Jonathan, unsure of what to do.
They decided that speed was needed, and it did seem that the trolls were fast asleep. They tiptoed into the room, as quiet as a forest mouse. They wound their way through large troll bodies, holding their noses as they went. As Timo neared a very fat troll, it rolled over, opened its eyes, stared right at Timo, and fell back to sleep. Timo's heart was racing so fast he could have fainted. Through the room they passed, and now on the outside they breathed breaths of relief. On we go, said Jonathan. They continued down the dark, quiet passages until they reached the large stairs leading to the throne room. The white carpet leading up the stairs was now stained black with mud and other dirts. At the top of the stairs, the brothers peeked into the room. It was empty. The king must have found the fairy king's bedchamber and was sleeping there, but that did not give them much peace. They crept into the room, and Timo led Jonathan over to the statue. He pointed out the wavy lines and whispered with a slight grin, "Watch this." He passed his fingers over the lines, and once again they shone with a blue light, and the statue started moving. The sound of it rolling over stone was not quiet, and the boys were relieved when the statue finally stopped. They waited a minute to see if anything or anyone could be heard. It was still. They took a lantern hanging on a nearby wall, still with enough fuel to last a good while, and stepped through the secret door.
Down they went, with Timo leading the way. The air was extremely cold, and the boys shivered as they walked. On and on the stairs delved into the mountain. When the boys reached the bottom, Timo held up the lantern and pointed out the small stream of water. "There it is," he said, pointing. "Is that it?" asked Jonathan. "I thought it would be more grand." They both knelt and drank from the water, using their hands as vessels. They had not been given any water and were very thirsty. Jonathan's cut healed instantly, and although they had no other sickness or injury, the healing waters did them good. They were refreshed and awake, feeling like they had only just woken from an excellent night's sleep. They filled up the water skin to its brim and started walking back up the stairs. Then they heard a sound.
"Who is sneaking in my throne room?"
snarled a voice. The children recognized it. The Troll King was coming down the stairs. The brothers ran back down to the bottom and desperately looked for a place to hide.
"I know the smell of you."
Timo and Jonathan looked at each other in dismay.
"And you still haven't put out your lantern."
The voice laughed. The lantern! How could they have been so stupid? Timo had thought quickly on his feet twice now concerning his torch, but this third time he had forgotten entirely. Timo went to put out the lantern, but Jonathan stopped him. "No, too late now," he said. "I'd rather see what's coming my way. And the king's coming with his own light anyway. Look!" He pointed up the stairs, and there was indeed a light growing brighter.
"You are going to be my main course at my celebration feast tomorrow,"
laughed the king.
"But a midnight snack will do just fine."